Today I'm bringing you guys my PC build for 2026. Not only is it my first PC build for 2026, but it's my first PC build ever. Now, I'm well aware of the economy with PC prices. Yes, the parts were expensive, but f it. I come from the PlayStation world, and I currently own a PS5, and it felt like the PS5 just wasn't giving me what I feel like I wanted. So I felt like I had to do myself a favor and upgrade. So I went ahead and purchased a whole bunch of parts just to build this PC. I still use my PS5 till this day because it's so practical. By the way, Sony, y'all been on some nut shit lately, talking about some, if we don't sign it after 30 days, you taking our game away. And the same applies to PC as well. There's just something about console that I will never give up, but being able to have a PC now gives me a lot more room to play with, and that's what I wanted. And to be real, I felt like that was one of the main reasons why I needed to build a PC. Like with PS5, bro, it's so restricted. The actual components, the actual specs inside the PlayStation 5 limits it so much. Building this PC felt right. I knew building this PC would give me a chance to get more out of gaming than I was from my PS5. 100%. Way more frame rate, better refresh rate from monitors that I can actually see in real time, load time, memory, capacity, storage, like you name it, bro. Being a console player my entire life up until this point, but going from console to PC was just like the biggest difference, because you can't play certain games only because they're on PC, or you can't do certain things because console doesn't allow it. And it definitely wasn't cheap. Thank God I have the ability to buy and build this PC. Not to mention, I just moved into this apartment only a couple months ago at the time that I'm recording this. It's not like I had to clear out the bank account for this, but this is something that I've been thinking about. I've been sitting on a lot of these parts for like a couple months now. I had to continuously change parts in and out, send parts back, buy new ones, because certain parts that I was getting wasn't actually compatible, or they didn't fit, or it wasn't the right size. On the other half of that, I just wanted to upgrade certain parts because I wanted to have a good experience the first time I turned on this PC and started playing. I'll probably end up putting all the specs in the description below so you guys can check that out if you want to. I'll name off the most important specs. So for storage, I went with the 2TB Crucial T705 Gen 5 NVMe SSD. For the case, I went with the NZXT Compact ATX Mid-Tower H5 Flow RGB 2024 case. For RAM, I went with the Crucial Pro 32GB DDR5 kit. For the motherboard, I went GIGABYTE X870 AORUS Elite Wi-Fi 7. For the GPU, I went the PowerColor Reaper Radeon RX 9070 XT. For the CPU, I went with a RYZEN 7 9800X 3D. For the cooler, I went with the NZXT Kraken Elite 360mm RGB liquid cooler. Next is the NZXT control hub, and that just helps control all the lighting between the fans. And then I also bought a GPU sag bracket. Since this is my first time building a PC, obviously it took way longer than I thought it would. You obviously underestimate how long it's gonna take to build something that you've never done before. But when it came to this PC specifically, I thought I would be able to build this in a day. Dog, I was so wrong. If I had to combine the number of hours it actually took me to build this, maybe a day, maybe like a full 24 hours of actual work time. And I know that might sound kind of crazy, but I was following a guide the whole time, and I thought that all the parts that I bought for my PC were gonna be the same exact as the guide, so I could just plug and play off of the video that I was watching. And I was so wrong, bro. The guide that I was watching wasn't even from that long ago. So I'm thinking, all right, it wasn't from that long ago, which means that the parts that I'm gonna buy now gotta be pretty much exactly the same. Like, I'm thinking it has to be one-to-one the exact same parts. But every single part that came in was just slightly updated. It was newer so that it could fit the components of motherboards of today, which basically meant that I had to figure it out on my own and kind of improvise. I'm trying to follow common sense, trying to look at the manual and just looking at and seeing what actually had to go where, but everything came out fine at the end. I did have to end up switching a couple of cables to their correct places. When I first turned on the computer, I didn't see anything on the screens, and I thought it was because maybe the monitors weren't on, but they were. I didn't push in the GPU enough and it never clicked, but when I did, then I finally saw life on screen. I'm trying to see if this boots off of the oh, I haven't seen that before. Let's go. I was able to get into the BIOS and, you know, make sure that I had XMP enabled and all that. But once I did that, it kept sending me back into the BIOS because I couldn't get to the Windows installation screen. And that was because every time I tried to get into the BIOS, it was taking screenshots and it was sending those screenshots straight to the USB drive that I was trying to install the Windows off of. So because of that, I had to take out the brand new USB drive that I bought specifically for this build. Thank God I had another 8GB USB drive, plugged it into my girl's PC, re-downloaded the installation media tool, plugged it back into my computer, and finally I was able to boot my computer off that USB drive, which meant I was able to install Windows and get onto the computer. And yes, I did try to delete everything off that USB drive, but for some reason it just wasn't working and there were still files that were left over, so I just used the one that I had. And that was pretty much the biggest struggle that I had, was just trying to figure that stuff out, especially all the cables and all the wiring. Like, it was like trying to figure out a math equation, bro. Like, but if you've ever built a PC before, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And especially if it's your first time building a PC, you know where I'm coming from. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. It wasn't as simple as I thought it would be. I thought just because I was watching a PC guide that I'd be able to plug and play, buy the same things that he did, and get this whole build done in a day. And that was clearly not the case. But after everything was done, I had the biggest smile on my face. I was honestly proud of myself for being able to do that on my own, and I'm glad that I did. That's a yeah.